That's what this movie really felt like. It felt straight to the History Channel.
I'm sure there are history shows on the Winchester house.
Right.
Welcome to Two Pepper Cinema Club. My name is Blaise.
And I'm James.
And today we're getting into our review of Winchester, the story of the Winchester Mystery House and all the ghosts. It's one of the most haunted places in the world, so there's a ton of ghost and paranormal activity there. Does the film stack up to the real world story of the Winchester Mystery House? We're going to find out. While also, our mouths are going to be on fire with, Ass Reaper. This is a very offensively named sauce.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
Oh, I just realized it's supposed to be like a sarcastic name for Ass Ripper.
And it's like a...
I mean, sarcastic about it.
I'm
That's
assuming
actually a funny, clever wordplay.
Ass Reaper. I'm assuming it has Carolina Reaper in it.
But come on. It's a little weird.
Okay, it just has Scotch bonnet and some and habaneros, so this might not be as hot as I'm hoping. We'll find out here on Two Pepper Cinema Club.
So we're just going to dig right into the hot sauce. So Winchester. You've actually been to the Winchester, right? I've been there too.
Winchester Mystery House.
Yeah, I went there when I was about 5 years old, and it was a very boring experience. I didn't see any ghosts. I hope you saw
I went
some.
there when I was 12, and I
Cheers.
thought it wasn't like exciting. It was just like a really hot Tabasco, actually. But
It's pretty hot for me.
I wouldn't say it was like the most exciting thing because it's just a house. You're obviously not going to see any ghosts.
Yeah.
Like, why would you?
Right.
If tours are going through, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? But I guarantee if you were there by yourself at like 2 a.m, yeah, like something might happen.
Right.
Or you're just going to be scared by the ambiance of everything and the stories that you've heard.
And that's the thing with the movie. Not a whole lot really happens. I felt like.
I feel like I was just watching Jason Clarke stumble around through like a really dark house while no one knew he was there for some reason. Like the whole time it was like no one knew he was there.
Yeah. First of all, how did they get Helen Mirren and also Jason Clarke? Even
Well, I
Jason
don't think
Clarke
Jason
feels
Clarke
like
would be
he's
hard
above
to.
this. Yeah.
I don't think that would be hard.
I still
to get.
feel like he is above this though.
Is he?
I mean, what bad movies has he done though? I haven't seen them. I'm sure they're out there.
I know. Like the trailer they showed before the movie was definitely one of the bad
Oh, and
movies
Jason Clarke
that-
was in that one. You're right.
The whole selling point
Yeah.
was that he was in it. I just
Yeah.
don't think that he's like. Okay, he's a really good supporting actor, but I don't think he's a great lead actor.
That's a good point.
I'm not saying that he's done a bad job or anything that I know. I just don't think he can carry a film, but I think he can add a lot
I
to
see
it.
Joel Edgerton in him. I think he's going to be the next powerful Joel Edgerton out there.
I don't think that's possible. I think there's only one Joel Edgerton. And Joel Edgerton was somebody I always mocked. Like, I was just always like, oh my god, like, what does he bring to the table? Then he directs The Gift.
Yeah.
Everything else is history, you know?
Right. That's the thing with this movie, though. There's nothing really original about it. It uses just all the tropes we've seen already with every James Wan movie ever made, which sucks. Because James Wan doesn't really do any... Like, I like James Wan as a director, but...
I don't.
I know you don't, but... He hasn't done anything original, I'd say, though. Like, with horror. It's not like he's, like, groundbreaking. He's just perfected a lot of the stuff that works, I feel like.
He's perfected it for a certain audience, which is the audience that goes to see horror movies.
Right.
Like a lot of high schoolers and teenagers. Like, as when we were watching Winchester, I was just like, oh, this is why I don't go see these movies. Like, I love genre movies, but I realize most of genre movies I'm interested in don't have that crowd because it's not opening up at the theater, or like if you go see it, it's at like a revival or something like that, where it's like the actual crowd that loves it, not the ones that just go every Friday or Saturday to go see something at the theater.
And just know they, like, everyone's predicting also all the jump scares. Everyone's going like, oh god, like each moment. And the whole movie I was just dreading. I think you heard me sighing. I didn't mean to let out that sigh, but each scare, I was like, oh god, here it comes again. Like, I know I'm gonna jump just because it's a loud fucking noise that makes you jump. Like, it's inevitable. It's gonna give you goosebumps or make you jolt a little. But it's not because you're scared. It's just because you're in a theater with Dolby surround sound speakers and you're just gonna jump because it's so loud. It gets really annoying. That's every scare in this movie. Maybe some creepy makeup effects here every now and then, but not enough to like be wowed by this movie whatsoever. This hot sauce isn't really hot, but it is making me sweat, though, actually.
It's doing a good job of that.
One of the problems, I think, with horror nowadays is there's not really trying... One thing I liked about It Follows, like, is it's really, like, dorky subject material that's, like, very loud and, like, kind of weird. but it's done in a serious manner. Whereas there's a movie also like Happy Death Day that was pretty good, where it was like kind of serious material, but done over the top, like crazy, and not taking itself too seriously. This movie is taking itself seriously, and it's also a serious subject, but it's just like falling flat and failing like all around. I feel like where it's like not doing anything to like try to like it.
It just didn't. I felt like this movie didn't really have any story to tell. I felt like it was just like I think there's actually an interesting story in the Winchester, like in the Winchester, like the legend of the Winchester rifle, like what that rifle did. It's literally called the rifle that won the West, like Winchester, the rifle that won the West. It's not just a gun that killed a lot of people, like it killed a lot of specific people, and there were specific ghosts that Sarah Winchester believed were haunting her, and this movie chooses to not mention that at all. And I hate the personification of ghosts. Like, oh, a ghost has to be like a demon. Like in Insidious, there's that demon. Okay, I understand that's a demon, whatever. But in this movie, they make the ghost into like this one demon guy.
Right.
Who just looks like that one dude from Twin Peaks.
Right.
Like, why do we always have to see like the ghost? Is it just easier to film that way? I thought that there's a great movie on Netflix called "I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House." It's an interesting title. It's a little weird, but that was one of the best ghost movies I think I've ever seen like in my life. Like it's not an insane movie, but you watch this thing at 2-3 a.m. like, dude, you're gonna be creeped out. It's such a weird, like, interesting movie. You never really see the ghost, and there's no jump scares in the whole movie. But I was terrified watching. I was just floored, just how like creepy it was. It did such a great job of like, I felt like showing like it was a good ghost movie that definitely didn't do any of these stupid tropes that like ghost movies like The Conjuring. Like The Conjuring is entertaining, but now everything that's just trying to replicate The Conjuring, even Insidious has gone to levels of trying to replicate The Conjuring. It's just horrible. Like it's just ripping itself off until there's nothing really left. At least that's the way I felt. I don't know. Like if I want a ghost movie, I want to see something I haven't seen before.
And I'm not gonna watch it on the History Channel because that's what this movie really felt like. It felt straight to the History Channel.
For some reason, yeah, it did feel like the whole movie. Even though they have Helen Mirren, I'm not even gonna mention Jason Clarke, but like it just felt like it was a reenactment on one of those like history type shows where it would talk. I'm sure there are history shows on the Winchester house.
Right. It just felt like a really long reenacted scene. That's what it honestly just felt like the whole movie. It felt like a movie I would have watched in class about the history of the Winchester. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this movie's used in a class and just like, oh, this movie was made for teaching instead, but it's actually dorky though. Yeah.
I don't really necessarily like horror movies that go out of their way to scare me or purposefully constantly have these like scares. But we recently watched a movie in theaters called Like Me, which after watching the movie, I would say it's not at all a genre movie, and it's like it's genre, but it's not horror. Like I thought that the trailer was giving me like a horror movie, and a lot of people were comparing it to Ingrid Goes West, but like the horror version of it. I didn't feel like it was necessarily that, but the opening scene, I'm just going into like what kind of scares me. Like the opening scene of that movie literally scared me so much. Like in this day and age, I was so scared. It's like probably 5 to 10 minutes. That's what scared me. I was just so scared.
Essentially the build up, yeah.
Yeah, it was like this build up, anticipation, dread. Like that was like the kind of horror that I don't necessarily like all horror stuff like that, but that would just like I was even like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch this movie. The rest of the movie wasn't at all like that. But I thought it was just like and then there's like on the other end of the spectrum there's a movie like Winchester that like goes out of its way to constantly try and scare you. But it didn't tap in. Like it might have tapped into other people in the theaters. Like part that scares them, but for me it really didn't do anything. It was actually really boring.
Yeah, like I'm really tired of this trope that we see in horror films where like it's already quiet in the scene and then you hear a and then it's like even quieter, but you're just using that
like the sound drops
out. Yeah, they're just letting you know that the scare's coming. It's even quieter than it was before. Just like that way the loud bang just like even makes you jolt even harder and stuff. I'm just that's literally used throughout the entire movie, and that's not build up. That's not making it scare. Like it made you jump. You might have had like look great for the like commercial TV spot where it shows people in night vision audience going like, and stuff. Like that might work, but you need the build up, like you were saying, in Like Me, and what I felt like it was used a lot in It Follows. Like that movie necessarily doesn't make you jump throughout the movie, but for me, when I went to sleep, like what scares me, this is just like, personal like preference, but my horror, I just prefer that build up of just like going to sleep and then you're just like, oh, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm freaked out.
Definitely It Follows, I think, has been one of the most successful movies that has done that in recent memory, where it's like the movie's really not that scary.
Yeah.
And I think some of them, the scariest movies aren't really scary necessarily. They don't have jump scares.
Right.
It's an idea, something that creeps back into your mind when you go to bed and the movie's been over 4 hours or whatever. And that's what's scary.
There's no reason for a ghost not to scare you, but it's just not used properly in this movie. Like, all you see is just people with just white eyes and
I mean, if you didn't like Winchester, I'll just recommend go check out It Follows if you haven't seen it. Go check out The Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. I think it's on Netflix. Netflix original.
A better ghost movie I've seen like recently, I think it's on Netflix. It's called The Pact. It's an indie movie, but even that was done well. And just like if you need to get that like ghost scare like release for yourself, like just go check out that one. I thought it's just better done, and while it's a modern tale, like Winchester had like all the right stakes to be a good movie essentially, but I think it was just handled improperly by wrong filmmakers, sadly.
And I like them, but they just, I don't know, they just dropped the ball or like phoned this in.
Yeah, go check out Daybreakers.
Awesome.
That's a cool like it wasn't necessarily a horror film, but like it's
a genre like vampire movie. It's really fun. Like it's kind of like Blade or one of those style movies, and they don't really make those anymore, so it's kind of the last one.
Might I say, visionary, awesome.
Anyways, getting the review of the sauce. This is all right. I think it's spicy.
I liked it. So what it reminded me of is just like hot sauce, where it's not like really hot, but when you just want more of it and it keeps building. So like I wasn't like dying, but I was starting to build a sweat with it. Like I just wanted to keep eating it because it was tasty. Like I think it's wrong to have with chicken nuggets, unfortunately, or at least chicken tendies.
What would be the best thing to put
I prefer having this on eggs. I do recommend it. Like it's a good taste. It's got a good spice to it, but yeah, I would prefer having this on eggs. I think this is better for like breakfast foods or something. It has that tapatio taste for me, and I don't necessarily like tapatio with Mexican food. Like I prefer it with breakfast stuff.
If I had like a restaurant, I would definitely have this in like the little caddy of sauces, just because it would be funny.
Right. Yeah.
But then I'd get in trouble because some parent would be like, "Oh, this is very offensive."
Right. Yeah. A kid would easily want this just because of the little ghost cool like figurine guy and stuff, which I understand. That's why I bought it, and But no, it's good. It's got a good kick to it, but it's not like it hasn't killed us yet. It's like habaneros or even the last dab being like pretty strong for us. But
we're gonna do something a little bit different next week. Hold on to your ticket stubs because we're gonna be reviewing 50 Shades Freed. I just keep calling it 50 Shades of Grey. So, anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I have a spicy recipe coming.
Yeah.
Get ready.